Hey everyone, I'm back in my office, so this is a positive. Obviously, things shook out just fine last week. So, anyway, my mini lecture for today, I wanted to talk to you about William Glasser's five basic needs, because I think that this is something that I bring up a lot when I'm supervising, when you're thinking about how to assess your client, maybe what goals to choose, or just to kind of get a read on like how they're doing and what's going on and what things they might be needing in their life that could influence the counseling relationship. So, just a second, I'm going to share my screen and pull this up. So, based on choice theory, the idea is that all behavior is purposeful and everything you do is your best attempt to get what you need in life or what you want. Um, and so, there are these five areas where we need to be fulfilled in order to, have all of our needs met. And so, when we look at the first one, this is very similar to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So that's a good place to start with your clients as well, if you're trying to assess what they might need or what's going on for them. And so this kind of parallels that. But I wanted to talk to you first about survival. So obviously, when we're thinking of our clients and particularly like socioeconomic status, if someone is struggling to meet their basic needs, which is, much more common nowadays with inflation and, salaries not necessarily increasing, sometimes people are having a hard time coping. Um, and they may, have issues with the relationships and the ability to function academically and on all other levels if they're just working to get their basic survival needs met. Um, this also includes safety and security. So we've talked a lot about trauma and how sometimes when someone's safety and security has been threatened at a young age, or really at any time, if they're experiencing trauma as a result, that sometimes the remnants of that trauma carries on into their life and can impact them moving forward. They may be hypervigilant. They may struggle with relationships. They may isolate in an attempt to keep themselves safe. So this is something that you're going to want to look for when you're working with clients to see, if they're feeling safe or if they're losing out on some aspects of life because they don't feel safe. So this is just something to think about. Does the client feel safe regularly? And that could be because there's a current threat happening in their home, or it could be because, or, their environment or at school, or it could be because they experienced a trauma in the past and that's impacting their ability to function in the present. So that's something to think about. The second one is love and belonging. So we all need to feel cared for and loved before we can, really move on to those higher levels of self-actualization. So we need to be connected to others. We need to feel like we belong, like we matter, like we're loved. And so, I think that sometimes people um, often stop striving for certain goals in their life because they don't feel that love, or maybe they're occupying their time searching for that love. And this could come from childhood attachment wounding. Maybe they didn't get their needs met when they were younger, or if they are a child in their home currently, maybe they have some abandonment or some loss and they've lost some important people or the ability for their needs to be met in whatever environment they might be. So if a parent abandoned the family situation, or somebody died, like a caregiver died, someone's needs may not have been met in that way. And so then your goals might be around how to find that love and connection in life and how that person can, you know, capture that sense of belonging. Maybe it is about increasing that social connection. or working on social skills to try to get those healthy relationships in their life. But this can be really hard and really challenging. And I think sometimes when people don't feel like they belong or that they're loved, again, this may lead to seeking out ways of coping that are unhealthy, such as isolating, drugs and alcohol, or other things that, maybe are harming their mental health and their physical health, as opposed to engaging in behaviors of connection with the community. Power is really important as well. So we all have a need to feel competent, to matter, to feel like what we're doing makes an impact. And I think that this can really influence self-esteem. This is why we see a lot of people who maybe didn't succeed in traditional academic paths, whether that's because they're neurodivergent, or they have a learning disability, or they experienced trauma. So these other basic needs were not met, and therefore they couldn't focus, and they had maybe some of those cognitive functioning issues that can come along with trauma, that can really impact self-esteem. So, or if someone has not found the thing that they're good at, or, a vocation, or a way to contribute to society, I think this can really impact self-esteem. This also goes along with love and belonging. I think when people feel competent in whatever it is that they do well, they can find community over that. If they have intellectual interests in a certain area, they can connect with others over that. So this can get out of balance for a variety of reasons. Sometimes people who had a career, but then they don't anymore, whether that's through retirement, family changes, like starting a family, or maybe it's as simple as maybe someone's passion is something that doesn't really make them a lot of money, and their family situation has changed and they have to work in a different area that they're not passionate about. That can really be draining to a person. And the next is freedom. So the ability to do what you want when you want to without restrictions. So, we're kind of always battling this balancing act of having that free time to do the things that we enjoy, to spend our time in, maybe community with others, or engaging in passion projects, or just recreation, just having a good time, versus, all the other things that we need to do in life. So whether that's caretaking, working, household chores, all of those different things can get in the way of freedom. And also, if we are working in a vocation or a career that is sort of draining and not inspirational or fulfilling, that can feel like even more of a burden. So the free time aspect becomes even more important. But if you're working really hard because you're trying to make a certain amount of money to survive, then this can rub up against that need for freedom, which leads us into fun. So obviously play, relaxation, and meaningful, relevant learning are how we meet this need. So for me, it was very some class. I wanted to make stained glass fun and scratch that intellectual itch, but also do something creative and just relaxing, and try to find, something that could help me disengage from the stresses of life. So these are things to consider when we're working through maybe what a client needs. So we're gonna just base level try to understand what their basic needs are met. And sometimes we can get a little more social worker-ish and help them connect to resources if we need to, or we can pull in a social worker or somebody with wraparound services to help support the family or the child or the client to get some of those basic needs met. so that they can move on to some of those deeper psychosocial needs like love and belonging and, feeling competent and powerful and connected to the work that the person is doing. And or just the contribution that they're making to the world around them. And of course, negotiating self-care and freedom and fun and how to incorporate those aspects into life, if at all possible, so that, the client is feeling balanced, they're feeling like their needs are met. So this is just something that I was thinking about and something that could be helpful for you to use if you, are against choice theory. You can find the basic needs that resonate with your theory, or you could just use Maslow's hierarchy if you want to kind of go there. But I think this is a helpful tool, so I just wanted to share it with you, and I hope you have a great day.